And good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. It's me. I'm back. It's Lisa Norell, and it is the Mindful Marketer episode number 86. And we're going to be exploring transformation traps today. I have missed all of you, and I want you to tell me in the chat today if you're watching this from YouTube or LinkedIn Live. Tell us, how are you? And where are you from today? What brought you here? It is really great. I took a hiatus from my live streams. I've been going at this now for over 4 years, and I have been pretty active booking in-person keynote speeches and preparing for one of my absolute favorite events that is starting in just 11 days, which is the Midlife Innovator in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'll be co-leading a session with CEO and boutique hotelier extraordinaire Chip Conley. So I've been doing some new things other than live streaming and podcasting. I'm also getting ready for a very fun session in Arlington, Virginia at the end of the month, where I'll be leading an executive roundtable session at the 2,000-person Voice and AI conference coming up October 29th. So if any of you are coming to Washington, D.C. area, I hope I'll see you there. So yes, I've been enjoying getting back out on the road and seeing my people. And we now have a wonderful 13,000 person followership on LinkedIn. So thanks to all of you for helping me help more leaders, more mindful leaders, cultivate healthier companies and careers. There is so much transition going on right now. So let's dive into the show. You're here because you're transformation curious. And, I put this show together because the term transformation gets such a bad rap. And much like the word AI, it's overused and misunderstood. So today, what I wanted to do is give you an overview of what transformation looks like today. What does it mean? How do you define it if you're a marketing leader, a CEO, anyone who is being asked to grow their organization or position it for a sale? So we're going to dive into some basic definitions, which are different than they were back in the day when I started to help clients lead significant transformations. That was over 25 years ago. I'm going to give you some very contemporary examples of what I call transformation traps. Then we're going to talk about one area that a lot of leaders ignore at their own peril. And then at the end, you've got to stick to the end. I'm going to give you my list of my 5 favorite strategy accelerators. So if you have not subscribed to my newsletter, make sure you go over to themindfulmarketer.com, because a lot of this content, a lot of these insights are delivered to my clients and my followers much sooner than on LinkedIn Live or on our podcasts. So that's a great way for you to stay up to date. So let me talk to you about why I did this. I have found that some things have not changed much. If you follow me back to Midtown Manhattan several years ago in the early 2000s, I was walking into this marble encrusted Class A office building. I was sent there by the CEO of a $2 billion company that I worked for. I was part of this small SWAT team, and our job was to determine how to prevent this customer from getting a $10 million refund from us. Yeah, that's 10 million. And this client was very upset with us. They allegedly or attempted to do a CRM implementation, a transformation from paper-based sales management systems to an automated sales management system. And nothing was working. Their investment bankers would have none of it. They did their deals, including one of the world's largest IPOs, which they underwrote, on cocktail napkins and legal pads. And there was no way they were going to change that. And what I realized is they had fallen into a transformation trap. They did not involve the top deal makers in the messaging for this huge transformation, this $10 million CRM software implementation. And it wasn't only costing them a lot of anxiety with their top producers, but it was causing our company many millions in potential loss of revenue. So a lot was on the line. And I said, what's going on now? Let's fast forward to now. What are we doing better with transformation? Where are some of these transformation traps still happening in modern day business? And, what I'm noticing now that I am on my second year of taking countless AI courses and using AI in my own business and also advising clients in medium to large organizations, is that some of these transformation traps die hard. So I want to prevent you from having to fall into some of these traps. So let me first start with some basics, because you know that I really believe in getting clear definitions. The world, and especially the business world, is rife with, shall we say, lots of cliches. So how do I define the word transformation? I define it as any initiative which moves a person, team, or organization from a current state to a future state with the intent to improve the stakeholders' condition. So any initiative which moves a person, team, or organization from a current state to a future state with the intention to improve their condition. And so the goal here in the world, and I'm speaking mostly in the world of organizations versus an individual. But what we're looking at here is that we either have to use transformation or deploy transformation to improve our operation in some way or create new value. So those are one of those two levers. So I like to get a little academic just so that you are grounded in the same lexicon that I'm using. And hopefully this is helpful for all of you as well. So let me share with you the different types of transformation that we're talking about. And I use this through the lens of what I affectionately call a transformation tree. And what I mean by a transformation tree is that there are different levels and different sources of transformation. At the very root of this tree that you're seeing, we are looking at cultural transformation. And what I want to leave you with there is that no matter what kind of transformation you're doing, whether it's one single functional area like email marketing, that would be one very specific, faster turnaround type of transformation than an entire organizational transformation. But even when you're dealing with something as mundane or banal as we want to move from, a spreadsheet-based email marketing system to a more formal email marketing system using AI or, more sophisticated tracking mechanisms, even something that rudimentary will be influenced by your culture. If you're doing a departmental-wide transformation where your entire department is undergoing a big change, that can be very disruptive. This week I talked with an insurance company that is doing a wholesale department-wide transformation. They're going to, they once had a chief marketing officer, and then they had a chief revenue officer. And what they're doing is they're collapsing those teams into one. And essentially what they will do is they will have a chief commercial officer. And this is a company up on the West Coast. So, that is going to cause a lot of internal transformation with the hopes of improving their customer relationships and retention. Customer experience. So anyway, that's a departmental example. Let's talk about customer experience. Now, we have a real live example of that happening and unfolding in front of our eyes right now with a company by the name of Nike. And Nike is really going through a rough time. I wouldn't say that they're doing a transformation. They're doing more of a turnaround at the current moment. They just announced a 9% drop in profits with their direct sales, a 7% drop in their wholesale business for their products, and a 20% decline in their digital channels, in their numbers. So what does this mean? Well, they have a brand new CEO by the name of Elliott Hill, and Elliott and their CFO just announced that they are postponing their investor day. And number two, they are withdrawing their fiscal year 25 guidance. They're withdrawing that for now. So, that whole customer experience where they had doubled down on direct sales, they're going to go back to designing the wholesale customer experience. So the other one that I will mention here is really around, I like this one, which is the cultural transformation. If you are a leader and you are going to take on a significant change in the culture, look no further than what we're seeing unravel in real time. When the former CEO of Chipotle, Brian Niccol, was hired by Starbucks. I am enjoying watching this because what he's doing right now is he took like 3 weeks and suddenly announced some significant organization changes. So he is going right into the culture of that organization and making sweeping changes in how they are organized, how they go to market. They're going to have a to-go business. They're going to have an in-house, as they call it, for here business. So that, they're going to have to really readjust how they're organized, how their culture operates, how many products they're going to be able to actually fulfill. And they're going to reduce that. And just this week, he announced they have completely removed one entire layer of management. So that's a lot. That is a lot. And it takes time. It takes time and patience to watch the culture adapt to a new reality. So much like I told you about that investment bank in Manhattan earlier, they were hoping for a few months to completely change the way they did big IPOs and deals. And what they learned after spending $10 million is that's not so easy. That takes it takes months, if not years. So I just want to show you the tree of transformation and leave you with this one thought. If you just go for a functional transformation, a department transformation, a customer experience transformation, or even an organization-wide transformation, like we saw with IBM back when Ginny Rometty was the CEO and then became the chairman of the board or chairwoman of the board. If you don't factor in culture and have that as kind of a staged consideration along every single step, then the culture will overtake your well-laid plans every time. So I wanted to leave you with that tree and to remind you that, there are so many examples that you can turn to. And one last thing I'll say about IBM is, I got to give Ginny Rometty a lot of credit. She invested 8 years trying to move IBM from a hardware company into an AI powered, Watson powered cloud computing leader. And, after 8 years, I think the board just said, okay, well, it was a good try. We've had 20 consecutive quarters of declining earnings. This is not working. So we'll promote you to chairman of the board. But anyway, that's modern business. It's not always a logical path. So what I want to do now is, now that I've left you with the tree of transformation, I promise to tell you some of the biggest traps I'm seeing now in today's AI-powered, AI-obsessed world when it comes to people leading transformation. Where do you get tripped up? The first one I am noticing is people lack patience. I have an amazing client located on the East Coast. They have tens of millions of customers. They're a large organization. My client leads the digital and the marketing teams. This person, I have to give them so much credit. What they knew early on, about 4 years ago, when they embarked upon this big transformation around customer experience, is they said, we have to brace ourselves because we have so many millions of customers. Our customer data platform is really not prepared in a good enough condition for us to make this leap to a more customer-facing, customer-obsessed culture and operation. So they bought time with the CEO and they said, look, we need some time. We need at least 2 years just to get our arms around one common view of the customer. And the CEO was prescient enough to say, you're probably right. So now they are at a stage of their process where they're in year 3.5, I would say. And thank goodness that the quality of their customer data platform is significantly better than when they announced this large transformation to the rest of the company. So they had the patience. What concerns me are the number of clients I work with whose companies are owned by private equity firms and VC firms. And it's unfortunate, but so many of these firms lack the patience to truly transform these organizations. So they give them 9 months, they give them 12 months. In reality, they need 2 to 4 years to move or right the ship. And, this is where my mindfulness practices can help me, because what I have to remind myself of is we live in a capitalist society. These investor communities don't have a lot of patience. They're there to flip the company. They're there to see a return on their investment. They're not willing to put in the time. So that is a big transformation trap. So if you're working for a company like that, my recommendation is bite off smaller pieces and enjoy the spoils of small successes. Try not to sign up for too much. And as I say, boil the ocean, because you might be setting yourself up for a career problem. The second trap that I see is the lack of an education plan. I am seeing this in a lot of companies with generative AI. Generative AI is changing customer experience, organization designs. It's changing the way we do our jobs every day. And yet many organizations are leaving it to individuals to come up with their own education plan, to learn the pros and cons of generative AI. So I wish it were different, but very few companies have established that kind of platform and strategy. The third one is the check the box mindset, which is when I, for example, have spoken with CEOs and senior leaders who are chartered with big change in their organization, and they'll say to me, "Why are people resisting this? I sent the damn email. I had the kickoff meeting. Why, oh, why are they not embracing this new way of doing things?" And it's because they underestimate the amount of communication required. I always tell my leaders, if you're sick and tired of breathing your own exhaust, there's a good chance that your people are finally able to understand the scope and the value of this transformation. Number 4, the consensus killer, which is, I need to test everything with my team. I need to get a consensus on every step of this process. The answer is you don't always have to. Consensus building is a great way to give you the time you need to get others to support your change. I could spend hours talking about this, but I won't. But it's really being able to know, when do I look for consensus around this decision? And when are there times I need to just go for it and make a choice and keep moving things forward? Number 5 is echo chamber, which is not testing your transformation strategy or your vision for the future with your stakeholders, with your customers, not only with your existing customers who know you, but also your future customers that you will be pursuing in the future. So those are the 5 areas, the traps that I'm seeing today is again, the lack of patience, not giving yourself the time to really realize the benefits and to allow the early resistors to speak up and address the transformation. Number 2, no education plan. The 3rd is that check the box mindset around communication. Number 4 is consensus killer. And number 5 is the transformation echo chamber. So avoid those 5 areas if you can. And again, you can always reach out to me, to Lisa at Lisa Norell, if you're looking for some guidance and ideas on how to address those. I know this is a lot. We are covering so much information here today. I promised to also tell you about 5 resources that I would say I've been using for the last 25 years, a couple of them more recently, to really help my clients and to help me move through any transformative stage. And the first one, I'm going to go quickly, and then you can email me if you would like the full list. It's to Lisa at lisanorell.com. The first one is any work by Amy Edmondson, professor at Harvard Business School. In her latest book, The Right Kind of Wrong, she reminds us that it's our job as leaders to remind people we don't have all the answers. We are not guaranteeing this is going to be a successful transformation. We have to be vulnerable about that to our people. And we have to be willing to say, we've got to bring our people together and be kind to one another, but there are going to be times we're not going to be nice. As transformation leaders, we have to welcome conflict. Healthy, constructive feedback and conflict are part of the transformation experience. So if you find yourself always wanting to make people happy and I don't want any conflict, reconsider whether you're really ready to lead transformation or you're going to fall into one of those traps. My other favorite resource is Charlene Lee's book, The Disruptive Mindset. I love that book because Charlene has some fantastic examples of how you message transformation. How do you get people to support your movement forward. She has a couple of examples worth reading. She calls them manifestos from a Piedmont Health System and T-Mobile that I think you'll find very useful. My third resource is the book by Carol Dweck, Mindset, the Psychology of Success. It's a fantastic book to teach you how to make a leap from a fixed mindset around scarcity, lack, and limitation to a growth mindset, which is all about possibility and lifelong learning. And I would definitely say she is the OG of the growth mindset communities that have really popped up over the last decade. And it's how we lead our marketing growth leaders communities. The next resource to consider is a book called Positive Intelligence by Shirzad Chamine. So just look up on your favorite bookseller the book Positive Intelligence. It's an excellent book. It has a free survey on the website that really, in a matter of 5 to 7 minutes, will tell you what your saboteurs are, where you get tripped up in leading yourself or leading your organizations through a transformation. And a saboteur is a critical inner voice that undermines your confidence, your efficacy, your creativity, and your resilience or your adaptability. So it's really a worthwhile survey to take. And it's a wonderful way to kickstart your self-awareness and to your team's self-awareness. The fifth resource is, this man is the person I worked with at that investment bank, at a media company, Daryl Connor. His book, Managing at the Speed of Change. Daryl is someone who provides you with now 48 years of studying change management in major organizations and NGOs across the globe. And Daryl is someone who can provide you with frameworks and a language, a lexicon of how you create groundswell and support for whatever transformation you might be experiencing or kicking off. So those are my 5 favorite resources right now. I have not added to that my 2 office managers, Claude and ChatGPT, but they are study guides. I'll put them at that level at this point. They tell me a lot about past examples, but they don't help me design the future yet. So those are my updates for today. I hope that you are staying out of the transformation traps. I want to remind you that if you are interested in any of these resources or you have a question for me, drop me a note to lisa@lisanorell.com. I respond to all emails within 24 business hours. And I will be coming back here again for our 87th episode well before the holidays are upon us. So make sure you're following me on LinkedIn and through our newsletter, The Mindful Marketer. And also remind you as we wrap up that if you like podcasts and you're feeling generous, please listen wherever you listen. And make sure you drop us a review on Apple Podcasts. Let's share the love and let's stay in touch through our streaming platforms. That's it for now, folks. I want to wish you all a transformative weekend, and I will see you next time.